Okay, we don't need to hype today because I am super excited about the electric bike I just got.
Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Super not on topic, but
Well, I was going to say, oh my God, I didn't have to think about what to pick for a meme for a cold open, right? Because this is the book. This is the book where we get not just shard plate, but shark plate.
oh, Adolin and Shallan, they just crack me up.
And some people don't like Brando's sense of humor, but we do. I do anyway.
Sometimes be shat plate.
But shark plate just has such a nice ring to it and a terrible smell. Hello, and welcome to Cosmere Casual, your casual reader's guide to Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I'm your co-host, the flatulent Nick Gorman.
I don't think he talked about farting in his shirt.
No, but it's on the same theme.
He must. And I'm your co-host, AJ Gorman.
I mean, because you don't generally there's both. Anyway, whatever. So
they come together, yeah. Today
we're doing a recap of Words of Radiance, the second book in the Stormlight Archive. This episode has spoilers for The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance. So the first two books in the Stormlight Archive, but no other Cosmere spoilers.
Yeah, so I know that with Way of Kings, we split up the episodes one way. Well, I'm not going to follow that same pattern. So I had notes and notes and notes, an endless sea of notes for this book.
You might call it a book of endless pages.
Okay, all right, my head's stuck in Ember Dark. But yes, Words of Radiance. Stormlight, here we go. So today we're going to do a post-read episode, but we're just going to kind of keep it kind of surface level. We're going to kind of enjoy the book for what it is, and then we'll do another episode where we'll kind of dive into the kind of the deeper things.
What? So this is just more like
we're
reactions?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to enjoy, we're going to settle in, and we're just going to kind of enjoy the story.
So this is more like the casual reader's guide this is the casual episode for the casual readers.
Yeah.
And then we'll do another episode that's
a little bit deeper.
What do you mean deeper? Are we going to, what?
More of the Cosmere kind of things.
So but that's like our Cosmere Connections episode.
Oh, it's different.
I have no idea.
Well, yes, let's just enjoy. I'll lead the conversation, and then we'll do another episode, and then we'll figure it out. Both of them are going to be great. So,
okay, so this is post-read episode part 1.
Yes, exactly. There we go. Getting on board. Love it. First off, there are some corrections. I know.
Wait, there are corrections? Wait, are we talking about the book? Because I think that's sort of like a nerd topic.
No,
because there are corrections to this book.
In previous Stormlight episodes, I had kind of reminisced or supposed or wondered about Captain Tozbek and the business relations with Shallan's father, and I think I had wondered, well, maybe it's more that he had relationships with her mother, but there is kind of further evidence in this book that they're the business relationships with her father. So whether that's true or maybe just that's the way that Shallan remembers it, I'm going to kind of pause on those thoughts.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So do we want to... What was your favorite scene in this book?
Well, it's the duel.
The duel? Okay.
The duel has to be like everyone's favorite, right?
I mean, all right. Yes, it is a fan favorite. There's all sorts of fan art about that duel, and that line Kaladin says before he leaps in, honor's dead, but I'll see what I can do. Yeah, that rips. That's awesome. But I mean, I think my favorite scene actually is before that. For me, it's when Shallan kills Tin.
Oh, that's dark.
I mean, I don't know. I get shivers every time I read it. It's just like, okay, yeah.
What was it? Yes, hard lessons. I believe I told you I've learned that lesson already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, but let's build up to the duel, I think.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dalinar first. He's he's in some way he likes to think of himself as not a confident man, but he is absolutely a confident man.
He doesn't think of himself as a confident man. He's the Blackthorn.
Yes, and he's got kind of a god complex.
Yeah.
There's this one thought that really kind of struck me. He says, yes, from now on, Adolin would lead the battles. Dalinar would change the world.
I mean, to be fair, he does. But then he also definitely continues leading the battles. But anyway, yeah.
He's just trying to unite Elhokar. I don't know why he included the world in this novel, but whatever. And Wit, Hoyd, whatever, Stefandrius, whatever you want to call him, kind of has a nice little conversation with Dalinar and just kind of confirm, like, yeah, you're a tyrant. Like, he's not even friggin' king of Alethkar. He's the acting king. Like, everybody else acts like he is king. So, I mean, on one hand, yes, but on the other hand, he's not actually king.
Do they? I mean, they're pretty open in their disdain for Dalinar.
But when they have complaints or they never direct it towards Elhokar. It's always, or they never blame Elhokar because they know that it's Dalinar behind every order.
I don't want to draw on current events too much, but sorry, killed the mood, killed the vibe.
There we go. Okay, so Wit says, it is an era for tyrants. I doubt this place is ready for anything more, and a benevolent tyrant is preferable to the disaster of weak rule. I praise you as what this world needs. Wit does not give out such high praise. This is not mocking at all. So it's kind of a, but yeah, he is a tyrant. He is kind of sweeping Elhokar to the side as much as he tries to tell himself that he's not. He's not like an ideal person, for sure.
No, he's not. I mean, and like, he fucks up sometimes with, like the lead up to the duel, although that was more Adolin and Shallan, but still, I'm trying to think. Did I mention it's been a month or so since I read the book?
He is allowing Navani to court him, even though the rules of society tell him that he has to think of her as his sister.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's a bad person because of that, but
I'm not saying like, oh.
He doesn't. Half of him, he's
that was
warring.
an interesting choice of words. He is allowing Navani to court him. It's like, well, hold on. She has agency in the matter too.
She does.
I think she would take umbrage with that.
Anyways, but yeah, he is trying to go from, kind of brutal general to more of a mastermind politician. And in this book, we see him do well and we see him do poorly.
Yeah. And yeah.
I mean, the trick that he pulled with Amaram to get Amaram into stealing a shard blade that he masterfully bonded beforehand, so it was always safe all along. That was a very good reveal. It was satisfying. It was a satisfying.
Yeah, I really liked it on my first read through, but like, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me anymore. I don't know. It's just like,
well, not now that you know the secret.
It's a little convoluted.
He wanted to test Amaram's honor.
Yeah.
Should he have gone through such a charade? No, probably not.
Well, and like, if Amaram were just like a hair less greedy, right? Like, what would he need a second shard blade for, right? Like, I don't know. To me, it relied on Amaram being a little nonsensical.
Well, I think he more wanted to take it so that nobody else would find it.
Yeah. And maybe that's fair.
So at the end of this book, we see kind of Dalinar demand to bond the Stormfather.
Indeed.
I would like to point out that he had kind of been bonding the Stormfather kind of before that point.
Indeed.
So let me point out a couple ways, because I did not appreciate these moments until multiple rereads. Dalinar was looking at one of the kind of the battles on the Shattered Plain, and he was reading the battle. I think that he could have been understanding the Parshendi song, the Parshendi songs, to kind of understand what they were kind of moving.
Oh, you think he's hearing the rhythms of Roshar? A
little bit, yes. Either supernaturally through connection, or maybe he's kind of subconsciously picked up some of the Parshendi songs because he's been on. He was on so many battles.
I thought you were going in a different direction when you first set that up, because it's, because when you're saying it's like, okay, how is Dalinar like the Stormfather, and he's sitting up on high watching the soldiers down below. That is very reminiscent of the Stormfather in his view of all the people, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And before the end of the book, Dalinar also kind of reminisces, even if it feels wrong somehow to hold one. Strange that. Why should it feel wrong? Perhaps I just miss my old blade. So we know that Knights Radiance don't like holding shard blades because they hear screams.
Yep, the dead spren screams in their ears.
So this is an indication that Dalinar has started a bond, but not yet completed. So while it is kind of abrupt that the Stormfather just like, okay, you asked for a bond, I'll give you a bond, it's not as abrupt as you think because it's been happening kind of throughout the entire book. Dalinar had also mentioned that he kind of, in the battle, he had felt his wounds healing in a familiar way. He'd done this before, he sensed. On the battlefield earlier, his arm felt fine now, and the cut on his side barely ached anymore. More signs that he was
gaining investiture
and powers before going up to the roof of the Earth.
Now, when he said that he'd done that before, was that also the Stormfather? Anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah. I mean, to me, the most obvious sign that he was starting to bond with the Stormfather was the visions.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's like, nobody else gets those visions.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not a traditional sign of bonding as friend, but it is the Stormfather.
The Stormfather's a little bit extra.
A little bit extra. Okay, I think that's enough about Dalinar for now. Let's talk a little bit about Elhokar.
Ooh, sorry.
Well, there's not a whole lot to say here, except that there's kind of, we see growth in Elhokar. I think we see him get, like, I think when you read Words of Radiance, like, maybe there's a bit of reality to him. Maybe he's okay-ish.
You see him more fleshed out as a character, but the more you get to know him, like...
The worse, yeah.
Man.
Should you really be king?
He's annoying.
Yes.
He's annoying.
And petulant.
And, like, there's a meme online about, well, a lot of people, a lot of fan favorites. You can be a fan favorite character and commit a whole bunch of war crimes, but you can't be a fan favorite and be annoying. The war crimes are fictional. My annoyance is real. Elhokar's annoying.
But what about Julio?
Yeah, Lopen.
I don't know where I got Julio from.
That's
but
his cousin. Yeah.
No, Julio. Okay.
Julio, yeah.
Lopen's annoying.
Yes, and that's why he's a polarizing character. Some people think he's funny. Some people think he's annoying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah. We see him as a whiny king who lets Dalinar rule through him.
And he's very easy to manipulate, right?
Yes, and we got that. He's always been this way because we hear Dalinar tell Kaladin about the silversmith incident.
Yes. The Roshon affair.
Yes. So he's always been easy to manipulate. So Dalinar kind of protects him and hopefully the rest of the country from that kind of influence on Elhokar. But I do like that Elhokar kind of realizes this. He has this comment. He's like, not even the assassin thinks I'm worthy of the throne. It's heart-wrenching because, like, yes, he is annoying and not a good king, but you're just like, I feel so sorry for him. Like, yeah, you're really not worth killing.
He is pitiful.
He is pitiful.
Well, and he's not worth killing because that's what Graves is all about.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, Taravangian, who has fortune and all this stuff, is just like, nah, don't even bother. Because Elhokar could never kind of rule the world.
Well, and Alethkar is already unstable enough as it is, even with Elhokar as the king, right? If somebody else takes over, they would run the risk of it solidifying, especially if that someone is Dalinar.
But he also admitted to himself that he was the one who ruined their chances against Sadeas.
But he still had the temper tantrum first.
Kaladin gave him a good push, but it was kind of like...
Yep.
Elhokar was the linchpin. But the important thing is that he tries. He tries to get better at the end, maybe. That's what Kaladin thinks, that he tries.
I mean, I do like the scene with him, and the Lopen's family.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Yeah, where she's ordering, she's ordering him around. It's like, I'm a king,
I'll not have it say that you didn't eat. You're too thin, eat.
Yeah.
Everybody else's reputation.
Yeah.
Everybody else's thoughts of her reputation matters more than what the king thinks. I think it's a good spot for him.
Yeah, gives him some perspective.
It does. All right, let's get into Shallan.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because I've got another thought on Elhokar. I'm just trying to formulate it. He's just, he's annoying and he's earnest, right? He does want to be better, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's ultimately what really gets Kaladin on his side, right? Is he's, I know he's, he's Dalinar's Tien, right?
Yeah.
But like he's earnest, right? He's his own person as well, and like he's trying, like you said.
Yeah. There's a man underneath the role.
There's a boy underneath. Anyway,
Shallan.
this is Shallan's book.
This is Shallan's book. Her focus. We get to see a lot of her history. Get to see a lot of character growth. You know, it does build kind of steadily and constantly. So, you know, by the end of the book, you think back, okay, what at the beginning of the book, my goodness, Shallan is like a completely different person. Because at the beginning of the book, you know, Shallan's just happy to go along with whatever Yesna says. Like, I'll marry, yes, of course I'll marry this person. Like, of course I'm going to do your tutelage. Of course, like, I'm just going to follow your lead and everything. And by the end, it's just like she's ordering around armies of Ardents, you know, herself, doing all of this work, you know, of her own kind of volition and making. And she's just, there's a lot more confidence. There's just a lot more to Shallan.
Yeah,
by the end.
I mean, 'cause, yeah, when she started the book and like in the Way of Kings, she's fairly one-dimensional, right? Like she's got her secrets and all that, but like, you know, she's mostly, you know, a kid scholar, right?
Right.
She gave up on being a thief, but seeing her infiltrate the Ghost Bloods, you know, you get the spy thriller stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So, and I do like I said, I think my favorite scene in the book at this point is her confrontation with Tin and the complete, you know, she's so good at masking, right? Like she's even convinced herself for the first half of this book that she is kind of powerless, right?
Well, I mean, through the flashbacks, we know that Shallan has already had an extremely difficult, trauma-filled life.
Right.
But when we meet her in Way of Kings, you know, she has this kind of fool that she's more or less kind of grown up.
We see her the same way that Tin does, right?
Right. So, you know, we think, oh, okay, well, Shallan's been through some things by the end of Way of Kings. Like, she has an idea of how bad things can get. But then now with the Words of Radiance, things get a lot worse.
Yeah. She killed her own dad with her own bare hands.
Yes.
Singing to him the same lullaby that he used to sing to her. Whoa!
But it does kind of explain a little bit of... We see a lot of contrast in Shallan. There are moments where it's like, man, she seems so naive. And other times where it's like, wow, she put a lot of forethought into this decision.
And, you know...
A surprising amount.
Yeah. And, you know, she's so naive. And then other times, like, she is... I'm trying to think of the word. It's... She can be decisive, right? And, like, you know, like you said, you know, it's the same sort of Shallan we see taking charge of the Ardents when the Everstorm is coming. It is the same one we see, you know, ordering the deserters to kill Tin's men, right? It's like, okay, something changed, and she takes charge, right?
Right. There's another kind of flip too, because at the beginning of the book, she's idolizing Yasta, but there are so many snide comments throughout and actions that Shallan takes throughout the book. One of these is scholarship. She's reminiscing that, you know, Yasna always was saying to her, scholarship requires a sharp mind and alert senses. These do not mix with alcohol. So Shallan reflects on that, and then the next sentence is, Shallan drank the rest of the wine in a gulp. Yeah. So, like, I don't know if this is, like, a reaction to her of Shallan thinking that Yasna has died and kind of feeling betrayal in that death. A product of grief, or it's a product of, you know, I was such a guppy to this woman, but I can do this on my own. Fuck you, essentially.
Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to me, that still sounds like grief.
But I think some of it is partially making sure that she's setting up her own identity separate from Yasna. Oh. So Shallan sees Yasna die.
Die.
So here, let me lay it out for you. We know that Yasna is a radiant with teleportation powers.
We don't know that yet.
Yes,
do we?
We do.
Oh yeah, because she knows all about going in and out of Shadesmar.
Yes, she has. We know that radiants have healing capabilities. I don't think that we really learned this fact. Well, I guess we learned it with Kaladin in the previous book. So we know that.
Well, and he heals a blade severed arm.
Yeah. So that fact is not pushed home until
The epilogue.
the epilogue, in the mid-book and the epilogue. And, you know, Shallan sees Yasna die at the beginning. So you really got to push hard to kind of push the pieces together or put it together on a reread. That she has teleportation powers, she has healing abilities. Her body is not where Shallan expects it to be when Shallan goes back down the corridor of the ship.
Shit, I forgot. I didn't even notice that.
So putting it all together, Yasna has probably transported herself out and healed herself. I mean,
and left a dummy in her place, right? She
well,
probably
no, there was no body.
Oh, there was no body. Oh, there was no body. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, what? Gotcha.
Yes. So yeah, Yasna may not be dead. Is not dead. But it also implies that Yasna, very much on purpose, left Shallan on the boat with murderers.
Yeah.
She's not a very good mentor.
She's not a good mentor. Well, and to be fair, she says that in the first book. She's not a good mentor. She doesn't do the whole worship thing very well. Yeah, but yeah, that's...
Yeah, so let me read to you the quote about the body. Shallan felt her way to Yasna's cabin, expecting at any moment to trip over the woman's corpse on the floor. She didn't. Then the story moves on and never reflects back on that.
Okay, and I just thought it was because she was, feeling around in the dark. Because how many times have I gone, especially back when I wore glasses, you feel around, you're looking at
Ships are not that big.
I'm aware of this. Suspension of disbelief. But also, you're right. And a body's a lot bigger than a pair of glasses. But...
All right, moving on to Pattern. So Shallan's relationship with Pattern is kind of, for some reason, connected to her drawing. So when Shallan actually drew Pattern out for the first time, mostly because Pattern keeps changing and going on to infinity, it really kind of solidified her connection. When she drew him out, Pattern kind of sighed off the page, fully kind of made this connection.
Yeah.
So...
And
I don't know why that was important to say, but...
Well, but I mean, that comes up again and again in this book, right? She has to draw out her illusions to be able to manifest them, right?
Yeah.
And manifest is probably the wrong word, but in order to make them out of Stormlight, right?
To use them, yeah.
I'm trying to think. And then, so then her sketchbook that she's been... she really tries to replace it, and that's sort of the plot reason for why she needs to be working on her sketches constantly, is so that way she can just do illusions at the drop of a hat.
As long as she's drawn them before.
Yes, but I mean, is this a good time to talk about the sketch with blue? Or is that a different episode? There's a version of it that's this episode.
Different episode.
Okay,
we'll talk about that in another one. What I am going to talk about, because it is...
I can just say it was very touching. I was moved by it. I thought it was a little
Bluth
silly.
having the drawing in his pocket.
And he was so moved by it, right? And yeah, it was touching.
This is somewhat of a spoiler because I didn't pick up on it in this read. I don't even think I picked up on multiple rereads, but it is there. And I won't go into full spoilers, but okay, let me put it this way. There are things that I want to point out that have to do with Pattern.
Okay.
And Pattern's conversations with Shallan. I will I'm going to read them out loud and I will let you...
Are you going to do the Pattern voice?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to read them out loud and just have you reminisce on them. We will talk about the actual implications in a different episode that's more spoilery. So here we go.
Snip, snip, snip. Sorry.
I'm just reading a quote from the book.
You're not just reading it.
I'm putting them some next to each other.
The compilation of information is more sensitive than the individual pieces.
So Shallan says, I don't know how to use the lies. And Pattern responds, yes, remember the time before. Another quote. Shallan thinking to herself, 10 heartbeats. But for her, it didn't have to be 10, did it? Food for thought.
Was that one about 10 heartbeats? Was that from The Way of Kings, or was that from this book?
That was from this book.
Because I remember there was a similar line in The Way of Kings.
There was.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Shallan's past. She killed her father.
Yeah, it's very unpleasant. Her flashback scenes are very unpleasant.
I think we also get confirmation. I have it in my notes, so it must have been confirmed.
It belongs in another episode,
Okay.
I believe. I was about to say, it's I don't have much to talk about with Shallan's flashbacks that belong in this episode, other than they are unpleasant.
Does it make you feel better or worse knowing that Shallan's father, Lynn, protected Shallan all that time, letting people believe that he killed her mother?
No.
I said better or worse. You gotta pick one.
Worse. No, not really worse. It doesn't really change how I feel at all.
Okay.
It's very complicated, right? And to me, that sort of makes, you can feel Shallan's vicarious guilt about it,
Yes.
right?
That starts to explain why she, defends him so much. Before things get really bad, she kind of defends him and just like...
Oh boy, there's a lot of child abuse psychology going on in there. Because even if, she's exhibiting fawning behavior there, right? Where it could be so much worse. She wants to, be on his good side, right? And
well, I definitely see that in kind of the later half of the flashbacks, but in the earlier parts, everybody's talking about that he's a murderer, but she knows that he's not the murderer.
Yeah. But I mean, like, to the outside observer, like, it's still... Yeah. She's exhibiting, classic fawning behavior.
It
right?
helps. It just helps to get through some of those more difficult chapters, knowing kind of what Lynn is actually kind of doing for Shallan. Well, it does for me. Shallan is not good at soul casting.
No, she's really bad at soul casting.
She tries to get a fire started, and thus born I Am a Stick.
I Am a Stick. That one... All right, so Brando Sando on his website has some annotations for some books. He's got, deleted scenes from other books, things like that. As an April Fool's Day joke, there was a deleted scene from a deleted interlude from Words of Radiance that was posted from the perspective of the stick.
And all it said was, I am a stick.
I am a stick. I am a stick.
I am a stick.
Poor Kate Redding.
Did she actually read it?
Yes.
She did?
I don't know. I know I have listened to an audio version of this.
Huh. I was thinking, well, I mean, yeah, poor Kate Redding, poor Michael Kramer, because, the epigraphs, 11010999810, the long string of numbers,
yes.
He reads them all, nary a breath, consummate professional.
In some of the other episodes, we will go over what those mean.
I need to learn what they mean.
I did the research. No worries. I got it. I got you.
Thanks.
Just like I got our listeners. I'm very confused about the whole soul casting process. This is the only time that we see Shallan partially in Shadesmar and partially in the physical realm. Like the other times throughout the entire Stormlight series, we see her solidly in one or the other trying to soul cast. So I guess we saw a little bit of
in Way of Kings.
Way of Kings, but like it's never described the same way twice.
Yeah. And I mean, taking off the casual hat, pushing up my nerd glasses here, to me it kind of makes sense that Shallan has a lot of trouble with soul casting, right?
Because she doesn't have her own soul put together.
Well, she struggles with change.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, like, because she had been so isolated for so long in her, parents' estate, right? And it's a very big shock to her coming out, right? That's not what I wanted to say. What did I want to say? Reading too far into it, and, we see more of this in later books. There is a part of Shallan that just doesn't think that she's worthy of change, right? That she deserves the poor situations that she's in.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, or at least that's emblematic, in a literary sense, if not an investiture, whatever, cosmic, whatever, she struggles with changing herself and others.
Well, I hope we're going to explore more of this.
Yeah, I hope we see. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Because the other thing that I really don't get, and I think we mentioned this in some of the Way of Kings episodes, is that, so to our understanding, Pattern says you have to persuade the soul to change. But we also see, we saw Yasna in the previous book change a human soul. So, like, I don't think you're gonna convince another human soul to, change into a ball of fire. So, like, what is the difference between Yasna's and Shallan's powers? Like, I mean,
they explain it, but it is a little wishy-washy.
Very wishy-washy.
So there's two big things that we know, and there's probably other factors as well, but we know that there's a few factors that impact how easy something is to soulcast. The soulcaster's authority, right? Where Yasna, she doesn't ask things to change.
She exudes authority.
That's right. She demands the change. She won't take, she there's no room to disagree with Yasna. She always gets her way, right? And certainly up to this point in the series, she always gets her way. And then the other thing is,
except for convincing everybody to put out their parchment.
If it's not going to be feasible, then she doesn't even try it, right? She only picks battles that she can win. And then the other thing is just the amount of Stormlight that she has, right? When she's got an overabundance of Stormlight, things are easier to soulcast.
Oh, still seems very wishy-washy.
There's a few other things, but I think that gets into Cosmere Connections territory.
Brandon normally explains things so thoroughly and normally multiple times. It just seems suspicious to me that he has kind of left soulcasting purposely vague.
I mean, I think we're going to get a lot more of it. I don't know if it'll be in Stormlight books. I don't know. Because, all right, damn it. All right, I'll snip that out too. All right. I think there's just room to explore.
Okay.
Sometimes when you're telling a story, you leave room to play in the space later.
Yep. Let's talk about Shallan kind of finding her way to herself and kind of her confidence.
What?
A little bit. She makes progress during the book.
She makes a lot of progress.
So let's talk about some of that progress. So, contrary to kind of Shallan, doing a bunch of kind of snide or rebellious acts against Yasna, while she thinks that Yasna's dead, she does consciously choose to continue Yasna's work in trying to find Urithiru and convince others to do away with their parchment. And she's also, in a similar fashion with investigating the Ghostbloods, because she is, heartbroken over Shallan's death, or over Yasna's death. But then she ends up joining the group of the people who murdered her?
She's not joining them, she's infiltrating them.
She's been invited.
Yes, like a good spy / double agent.
Yeah, I don't. It's just
Have you
weird.
read a spy novel?
And she's completely over her head.
Well, yes. She's somehow underwater and over her head at the same time. I don't understand how it can be both, but it is.
She does discover what Yasna has been looking for in the Shattered Plains. So
yeah.
She does find the Oath Gate. She doesn't, at the beginning of the book, she doesn't even know she's looking for an Oath Gate.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say, since this is for the casual readers and we're talking about the Ghostbloods, there's the scene where they go into Mraize's hideout, basically. There's a lot of shit in there that's pointed out, but then Shallan doesn't know what any of that is, and you, the reader, don't know what it means. It's mostly Easter eggs.
And we'll talk about that in another episode. I have notes. No worries. We'll talk about this more in another episode too, but pay a lot of attention to how Shallan refers to herself, because there are signs there that she kind of starts to think of herself as several different personalities.
She's falling apart.
Anything more on Shallan, or can we go to Kaladin?
I mean,
we're gonna talk more in her. You want to talk about Adolin first?
I mean, her betrothed. Don't you think that makes sense to go next?
Well,
I mean, I just love Adolin. I'm not sure I have anything else to say other than that.
Yeah, no, I was going to talk about Kaladin next, and then we could talk about the love triangle, then we can transition into Adolin, and then we can talk about the duel and end with the duel.
Oh. We're not going to talk about Szeth at all?
Not in this episode.
Oh, that'll be in part 2.
Yeah, and we just talked a lot about him in interludes, too.
That's fair.
All right, so Kaladin. So Way of Kings was Kaladin's book. We got all of his flashbacks and all of that focus on Kaladin there. But we are still following Kaladin in his kind of journey. So we are still seeing some kind of struggles.
Well,
but some growth.
There are folks on Reddit with, I'm not going to say entirely too much free time, but who are more interested in this sort of thing than I am, who tallied up the page counts by point of view.
Oh, good lord.
Every book is Kaladin's book.
Okay.
So if you feel like Kaladin's still the main character, all right, this is Shallan's book. She is the main character, but Kaladin's always second.
So at the beginning, Kaladin is not yet Dalinar's man. He's not confident in himself or in Dalinar, and that is symbolized I feel like we're in English class. Symbolized by Kaladin leaving the
We have
Colin
a
cloak.
We have a
Behind.
podcast diving into a series of books. This is English class, but fun / with more analogies for therapy.
So yes, symbolized by Kaladin leaving the Colin cloak behind. Because we never see that cloak again. Never gets mentioned.
Damn it, you're wrong, and I can't talk about it.
Yes, but for the purposes of this book, like, it never appears again. There's nothing, like, whatever. So throughout this book, we see Kaladin's slow transformation into a Light Eyes. We see kind of Kaladin donning a Light-Eyed officer's uniform. We kind of see his eyes change color. You know, they get lighter.
Wait, do they get lighter just when he's using Stormlight? Or is that just when he's got the Sill Blade?
The Sill Blade, by the end of the novel.
I would say by the end of the book. I was about to say, like, what is this? No, that one's not gradual.
And Kaladin is given his second shard blade.
Yeah, his second set of blade and plate.
Which just sends him into a sheer panic. And just like, what are the chances that he'd have 2 opportunities to get shard blade?
Well, I mean, it sends me, like, he has a panic attack. Like,
very
that was
unlikely.
very triggering.
Yes, it
right?
was very triggering. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, take a step back and I'm like, dude, in the span of like 5 years, you won.
It's like 1 year.
Was it 1 year? Well, no, because he won the blade and then spent some time as a slave and then book events. And
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, yeah, it's less than 2 years.
he's just a very
Skilled fighter. Yeah.
He's a very competent fighter.
You know, he's very good at killing people.
Yeah, but throughout this book, you know, even though he's kind of in this privileged position, he has, you know, he's got his men safe and all of this other stuff. We see that he's still not happy. You know, there's a hierarchy of needs, and he's just waiting for the other shoe to drop. He's not trusting this life that he has now.
Yeah. I mean, he is, you know, that's a theme for Kaladin, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's depressed. He's got PTSD.
And you can't just, you know, a new life doesn't make it go away.
Yeah.
But in the end, he brazenly...
We are skipping his entire conflict in this book. You know, him and Moash. What are they going to do about the king?
I have that in a minute.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have that in another... no, I have that in a minute. We can talk about it now. Sure, let's talk about it now.
Well, yeah, like, he doesn't, because he hates the Light Eyes so much. Like, he is prejudiced, right? Like, he does not, like, yeah.
So let's bring this back to English class. I'm sure that you learned about foils. Typically, it is traditionally done with...
I always prefer a saber, maybe an epee, but a foil is also good.
Oh, okay. Funny. I
don't actually know how to fence.
They taught us how about foils in the Odyssey.
Really?
Yes, because there's a character, I forget his name, but there was a character in there that was supposed to be set up as a foil to Odysseus.
Huh. It's been a minute since I read that one.
Coming out with a movie soon.
There's been many a movie. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou was my favorite adaptation of it.
No, there's going to be one with like Matt Damon and Brad Pitt, I think. I forget if they're doing the Iliad or the Odyssey.
I think it's the Iliad. But anyway, yes, foils. Moash and Kaladin are the same person, but slight differences that make all the difference.
They have similar drives.
They have similar tragic backstories, down to the same fucking guy. Same fucking guy.
Yeah, Roshone. And the two of them have a very special connection. So Moash is the only one that doesn't treat Kaladin as extra.
Yeah, which, to be fair, Kaladin doesn't want to be treated as extra. He hates the people at the top. He does not want to be treated like a Light Eyes.
Yeah, both of them are extremely competent fighters. Neither one of them kind of trust their leaders.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're both rebellious.
And they each like doing what they think needs to happen.
And they both hate the Light Eyes.
They both have a vendetta. Yes, so kind of similar drives, Moash and Kaladin, but because of personality differences and whatnot, they have kind of they follow different paths. So you can kind of see the contrast in the small decisions / large decisions that they make.
Well, do you think if Moash had a Sill, a Spren, do you think he would have changed course like Kaladin did? Right? Because Kaladin was so betrayed by Elhokar's temper tantrum and Dalinar and Elhokar throwing him in prison. He was ready to proceed with assassinating Elhokar, right? And it really wasn't until Syl snapped him out of it. And to be fair, it wasn't entirely willingness on Syl's part. It was because, she was, the connection was breaking. She was, he wasn't being true to his values.
I think in the end, I don't think he would have gone along with it. I think he would have come to that realization with or without Syl. And it's different kind of killing Elhokar by your own hand versus kind of passively letting it happen.
Interesting.
I think that if Syl wasn't in the picture, he would have kind of tried to do it actively, and I don't think he could have gone through with that.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think he would have, well, it's hard to, and I think if Moash had a spren, an honor spren, I think he would have changed course. But,
yeah, but probably.
But he wasn't.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, and he wasn't bonding an honor spren.
No, because I guess we don't know. Never mind, I won't make that comment. But it all comes out to the end. Kaladin makes the right decision. Well, I guess let me go into a little bit of kind of yes. So Kaladin deciding to help Moash kill Elhokar does deteriorate the bond between Kaladin and Syl, and that's because deep down Kaladin does know that that's the wrong decision. So it's really deep down, it's him kind of going against what he thinks. And that may be the kind of other difference with Moash, because I don't think Moash deep down thinks that he's doing something wrong.
I've read it differently, right? Where I don't, because it's about protecting people, right? That's where Kaladin that's what Kaladin's oaths are about, and that's because I like they talk about, like they grapple with this in the story, right? Where Kaladin's like, wait, why can't I kill all these Parshendi and it's not a problem, but then I kill somebody who objectively deserves it? It is, right? It's not, I mean, yes, he is feeling guilty about it, but it's also because he's not motivated by protecting anybody. He's motivated by revenge. And
you think that a spren would have changed his motivations?
A Moash, are we talking about?
Yeah.
It would have held a spren, like Syl, held a mirror up to Kaladin, ethically, and said, hey, this is what you're doing. This, you're not protecting people. You're saying you are, but that's not really what's motivating you. And here's the consequences of that, right? And it, and especially like seeing, Kaladin was hurt by Syl reverting to her more childlike state, right? Like, and it's not just that his powers go away. Like, yes, he hates that too, but he also like feels sad about what he's doing to Syl.
Yeah.
So
I don't have the same thoughts as you do, but
yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, doesn't Moash like acknowledge that it's not really about protecting people?
I was gonna say, yeah, I think we can talk more about this because at the end of Arc 1, we should really talk about.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a more interesting conversation later than it is right now.
It's interesting at every step along the journey.
Oh, okay.
Journey before destination, dear. Journey before destination.
I know, that's why I want to appreciate the entire journey.
I'm waiting till the destination to talk about it. Now.
Anyways, Kaladin makes the right decision, realizes his mistake. We get our superhero moment.
I always imagine that when he, lands after gently setting down Dalinar, I always imagine he does the Marvel superhero landing, the 3-point.
Of course he should.
Is that...
He brazenly shows his power, saves Elhokar and Dalinar, and he's confident in his radiance and also in Dalinar. So full circle from his first chapter to the last.
Where he doesn't know that he wants to be a Radiant because... everything that they've done, and like, what is that anyway? To, oh God, now Amaram's supposed to be the head of the Knights Radiant. Fuck Amaram.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about next. So another kind of central problem that Kaladin's having this whole time is that Dalinar, someone who he respects, and Amaram, someone who he hates because betrays.
But
they're
important
friends.
to know, Kaladin used to respect Amaram intensely as well. So
yes.
Yes.
And he does take Syl's advice, and he does talk to Dalinar about his history with Amaram. Was Dalinar as super understanding as we as readers might like? No. And does it take a long frickin' time for Dalinar to do anything with the information? Yes. But he does listen.
So, yeah, boy howdy. To me, this is one of those things where it's like clear communication between Dalinar and Kaladin could have smoothed over a lot of this friction. Like, there's part of me that's like, okay, Dalinar is not the most communicative of characters, right? Like, fucking listen to the guy, right? Part of me also wonders is like, yeah, this is one of those things where like it's sort of a trope where, oh man, if only the two main characters would talk to each other, this, wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it doesn't ruin my suspension of disbelief or anything like that, because Dalinar and Kaladin are both so non-communicative in general.
And hard-headed.
Yeah.
I wish that we had more points of view of Dalinar thinking about this problem.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. So one of my favorite quotes about Kaladin in this book is, he decided to be storming happy about Amaram's arrival, which is just such a Kaladin.
So in DBT class, that's dialectical behavioral therapy, for those people who are not doing a whole bunch of therapy stuff. There's a principle on, regulating your emotions. That's the opposite action. When you feel the urge to do something destructive or self-destructive or whatever, right? You very intentionally do the opposite. It's hard, but yeah. So I know the fandom gives, a lot of crap about therapy speak, but this is him using the principles without therapy speak.
I would not say in the healthiest way.
No. It's a skill that takes a lot of practice.
All right, so let's turn our thoughts to something a little bit happier, like the budding bromance between Kaladin and Adolin. So there are a lot of similarities between these two. Something that Xyle points out. You remind me a lot of him, Xyle said. Adolin wouldn't let me teach him either. Not at first. I'm nothing like him. Xyle barked a laugh at that, chuckling as if he'd heard the finest joke in all the world.
But here's the thing. They are a lot alike in some ways, but he is nowhere near as close a foil as Moash is, right?
Correct.
And I think, the most defining thing about Kaladin, besides being a great fighter, is his depression and gloomy demeanor.
Yeah.
And Adolin is just such a himbo. He's a golden retriever personified.
Yes.
Yes.
But both of them are also good men.
Yes.
They're good people on the inside.
This is also... Adolin does say, I'm not as good as everyone thinks I am, as he stabs Sadeas through the eyeball.
He's got his issues, just like Kaladin.
And they are at war.
And, Sadeas, just kind of...
He had it coming.
He had it coming. He left. He just very purposely, trapped Dalinar and Adolin and their entire army to be killed by the Parshendi. And
he had betrayed them, and he had just told Adolin that he was going to do it again.
Yeah, so
I'd argue that was almost self-defense then.
Yeah.
A good lawyer could spin it that way, probably. I don't know.
It's really hard to blame Adolin, but it is kind of you did kill him in cold blood.
And I can't believe you didn't want me to lead with a joke about the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. Damn. So the Cherry Poppin' Daddies were a neo swing band in the 90s. Anyway, just like every joke that's so much better after you explain it.
So much better. It's awesome to explain your jokes.
Jokes are like frogs. They're really, they don't survive being dissected.
Okay, and we talked about the way that Kaladin and Adolin.
That's not the name of their ship.
What's the name of their ship?
I don't know. I don't want to know. It's Kaladin or something. It's hard to pronounce. I don't want to think about it. They don't need romance.
They are awesome together. Friendship. They make each other better.
They do.
Kaladin backs up Adolin when he puts his foot down about Dalinar not being the one to meet with the Parshendi. I think that must have gone, it wasn't remarked upon in the text, but it must have gone a long way with Adolin for Kaladin to have done that. Adolin
also jumping into the arena and saving
I was going to say
his life.
That was a hefty dump truck
that
load
was
of
the
help.
one. That was the one. And then
there's no way to prove that you're in it together than to commit suicide together.
Trigger warning there, dear.
But after that, they start ragging on each other, and it's good-naturedly. So that was good to see.
Well, and Adolin, puts himself in prison until Kaladin is freed as a protest, right?
Yeah, but with a lot of luxuries.
Right, but also, I don't think the text really beats it home quite as much. That. Imagine a senator going and doing a protest like that, right? Sitting in jail, like even if they, were in a minimum security, like, luxury thing, like it would be politically, it would be all anyone could talk about, right?
Derelict of duty.
Well, I mean, it would be a hell of a thing, right? It would be a hell of an effective protest.
Sometimes I read it and appreciate it, and other times I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think they make it seem more infantile than it would have gone over, right?
Yeah.
Because it reads like he was throwing a temper tantrum, but actually though,
the love triangle.
Yeah, okay, the love triangle.
We've got Shallan at the head. We've got a Kaladin leg and an Adolin leg.
Interesting, because I thought you had Kaladin at the head and you had a Shallan and an Adolin leg, and then it's like, oh, okay, I guess sorry.
So we've got lots of evidence for Kaladin crushing on Shallan, particularly when they're in the chasms and so whatnot.
I mean, they were trauma bonding.
Shallan tells Kaladin how she's broken, and then she smiled. Storms, she smiled anyways. And nothing has gotten through to Kaladin so powerfully, so impactfully as Shallan smiling. It was the single most beautiful thing he's seen in his entire life. And all he wants to know is how.
The sharp plate. Oh, sorry.
And then Shallan starts talking about Adolin, and then he thinks, Adolin. Right. That dampened his mood. Adolin's in the picture. She's gonna marry Adolin.
And they were in a high storm, so it couldn't have been damper already, but it did.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
He's not really into her. This is a crush, but not something that goes particularly deep. Kaladin thinks the truth was he liked Adolin, and those two were good for one another. They fit.
Yeah, they're two insufferable light eyes, storming light eyes.
And Kaladin does reference that Shallan can cheer him up just like Tien used to do, which is very sweet. They were, both.
But that's
both
more like a brother-sister bond, right?
Yeah, just because that it doesn't equal romantic love. I think there is a strong bond between Kaladin and Shallan. It's not necessarily of romantic nature.
Yeah. They're trauma bonding.
We just all like to go for the romantic thing, particularly when we're reading novels.
And the characters are adolescent, they're adolescents, right?
Right.
It's a trope, but it's also a trap.
Okay, the duel.
The duel.
Poor Shallan, she's got to watch her two lover interests just die.
Well, hold on. Kaladin was not a love interest at that point. Not at all.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on. Hold the phone. We haven't talked about the boots.
It's their meet cute.
Yeah, okay. All right, we talked about the boots. I like the running.
Their meet cute is Shallan demanding Kaladin's boots, and Kaladin just fine.
Yeah.
Here are my boots.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't actually have anything more to say other than just I like that it's a running joke in the series about their freaking boots. So, yeah.
It is nice. Yeah. It's a very good meet cute. I do like to rag on Brandon for not having kind of good romance in his novels, but he does do some things very, very well. And that meet cute is right at the top of the list.
I don't think so. I think the top of the list is this fucking duel.
That's true. Well, that's okay, but that's not the romance.
No, but it's the thing at the top of the things that he does well is this fucking duel.
Okay, I don't like fighting. I don't like reading about battles, but I love this duel. Though it is half stupidity. There's just a lot of stupidity coming together.
Yeah.
I love that Adolin just got himself into this horrible situation. And he's calling himself stupid as he's running around he's committed. He's I'm so stupid. But he's gonna go through with it anyway, and
because otherwise he'd have to give up his plate and blade, and he'd be done anyway, right?
Yeah. And then in contrast, Dalinar's just not blaming Adolin at all, and it's just hey, we're done with this. So there's just such opposing thoughts about the situation from Adolin and Dalinar.
Well, but at the same time,
the contrast is delicious.
But at the same time, if Dalinar were down there, he'd be thinking the exact same thing,
yes,
right? And he wouldn't have done it any differently.
Yeah, he has a double standard. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and he is his father's son, right?
It's also just a freaking stupid idea for Adolin to have to Adolin's plan was to fight two people at once, win that duel, and then fight Sadeas.
Yeah.
That's not a good plan.
No. I mean, No.
Because like he was worried, he was kind of a little worried about fighting two people. So like you're gonna give it your all, like you have to win that, and then you're gonna immediately do another duel.
Well, to be
Maybe
fair,
maybe he just thinks really poorly of Sadeas' skill in his old age,
and
which I don't think is a smart move.
No, but I mean, Sadeas, is, he's a generation older, right?
There's just like the whole premise was kind of stupid. Their whole plan was stupid.
Yeah, but it was the plan, damn it.
But then, okay, all right, fine. Things are going to shit. Adolin's in there by himself, and then frickin' Renarin decides to come out without any shard blade.
Without any plate.
Without any plate.
And with a blade that, foreshadowing for the end of the book, he can't do anything because if he summons it, he's got a paralyzing scream in his head.
Yeah, so he's got a screaming in his head, so he can barely move because he can barely think. And, not to mention his blood sickness or whatever.
Yes.
So,
But it's because he loves his brother.
I know, but it was so dumb.
He loves his brother.
I mean, I guess it just get one person away, but
maybe
it's just,
as Kaladin would say, Adolin is Renarin's Tien.
But at most it would have bought a minute.
Tien.
It would have bought a minute, because they could have just stabbed him and incapacitated him, and then that enemy would have gone right back.
And that's but that's not what right. But because they want to send a message to Adolin, they use him as leverage, which doesn't go out. Well, it doesn't work out well for them in the end. But anyway, but only because the spread intervene.
I don't know. It makes me question if Renarin was trying to purposely
die.
Yes, or perhaps
we know that he has radiant abilities. We don't know what they are.
Perhaps he was confident that he would be safe.
Especially if he's got radiant powers, that's why Kaladin kicks so much ass.
Okay, and then we go to the dumbness.
The dumbness?
So far, all of my talking points have been all of the stupid things.
Okay.
All of the stupidity coming together. No, don't get me wrong. I love all of these stupid things coming together, but that doesn't mean they're not stupid.
It's all coming together like 5 cars at an intersection. Let's roll.
I mean, Kaladin, they get through this monumental effort of, defeating all of these people. At the end, and then he decides to try to name his own boon. I think Dalinar put it best. You overshadowed it in the name of your own petty vengeance. I mean, Dalinar is absolutely freaking right.
No, hard disagree.
Okay.
His vengeance isn't petty. It is the most important thing in his life. Amram killed Tien, right? He was in denial about it for a while, but even though Rashon was the one who got Tien conscripted, right? Amram's the one who put him in that position to be, he was the ultimate general that got him, that put him in that position where he was fodder.
It's not petty to his life, but it is petty to the larger situation that Kaladin is aware of the country as a whole, as a world as a whole.
The most important thing
to Kaladin.
But
it is petty on the scale of the larger, of outside of him.
I don't think that is an appropriate comparison. That's a comparison that Taravangian would make.
But that's a comparison that Dalinar is making.
That's a comparison that Taravangian would make. The needs of the many don't always outweigh the needs of the few.
Okay,
we're not Spock either.
His decision to do this is very similar. I feel like it's supposed to echo the decision to do side carry in Way of Kings.
Yeah, it was rash.
He's not seeing the whole picture. He's only thinking about himself, not the whole picture.
Yes.
That's another way to put it.
But like I said, that doesn't make it unimportant. It wasn't the right call, but it was important, right?
Yes.
And he saw an opportunity and he thought he should take it. He was wrong, but he wasn't getting justice any other way, was he?
Yes, he was. It was just slow in coming.
He wasn't getting justice any other way.
Okay. Anyways, there's one more point of stupidity, and that's something that you brought up to me probably 2 months back, that Shallan is sitting up in the stands blaming herself for this entire situation.
When she had nothing to do with it. She had nothing, Adolin's the one who proposes that.
All Shallan suggests is doing something grand or epic.
Yeah.
It's Adolin who comes up with the 2-on-1 fight. or the disadvantage fight. Shallan did not utter a single kind of breath to that.
Yeah. And I think there was something that happened off screen about like piddling over terms or something, but they had agreed to that disadvantage duel, and it was in front of witnesses, and they made a point about that before whatever happened off screen.
The judge or whatever, she's like, "Are you sure you know what you agreed to?" And Adolin was like, "Yep."
Yeah.
So like there was that like little moment of you could have gotten it out, and she just plowed right on through it.
Yeah. He thought they were thinking. Yeah.
But yeah, this does go a long way in the budding friendship between Adolin and Kaladin. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the fallout. I guess we already talked about Adolin putting himself in prison.
I thought we were ending with the duel.
Well, I'm just talking about a little bit of the fallout from the duel. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Kaladin willingly allows himself to be put in jail and doesn't try to escape. We notice him having trouble accessing Stormlight because of his kind of deteriorating bond with Syl, because he's not making good decisions.
Well, it's not just because he's not making good decisions. It's because he is abandoning, he has opportunities to be protecting people, and he's turning away from that, right?
How is that not a decision?
It is, but it's not, it's because of your poor decisions, like, is too vague, right? And that's what Syl says, but like he doesn't understand it. And like honestly, me as a reader, I don't understand what she's trying to go for either. But it's anyway.
Curiously, we still kind of see him somewhat trusting Dalinar while he's in prison. Just because I was a lighting designer, I do want to point out that Kaladin, while in jail, spends a lot of time reflecting on his mental condition, and he does note that the effect that light has on his mental health. By the way, that is actual science in the real world. Light does affect your mental health and your physical health.
Get your vitamin D, folks, and enough light and the right kinds of light, whatever.
Yeah, and if you want to sleep, don't look at your phone or have blue filter on. That is actual science. I do love the duel, even though I just spent a half hour ragging on it. That is my favorite, absolute favorite.
I mean, it's sort of needling that it's like, all right, it's so beloved. You gotta talk about it however you can. And if that means ragging on the things that don't quite make sense, all right, at least you're talking about that beloved scene.
Are people still saying hot take?
Hot takes served cold. All right. We've been Cosmere Casual. Thanks for listening to us. And thank you. Hey, dear, thanks for podcasting with me.
Thank you for letting me go on for a conversation for a really long time. For 5.5 pages.
I like talking to you or whatever.
Thank you.
I like talking to you, dear. If you're still listening to us, our email address is cosmerecasual@gmail.com. Cosmere Casual is our handle on whatever social medias we're on at this point. I honestly have a hard time keeping track. Our intro and outro music is licensed through Tribe of Noise. The artist is Ketsa, and the song is Odyssey.
And until next time, keep your wits about you.